All right, my friends, welcome back. And now that Ford has released the Maverick, we can start to compare it side by side, looking at the specifications with its soon-to-be nearest competitor, the Hyundai Santa Cruz. Looking through this, I was a little surprised at a few things, so let's dig into it a little bit and I'll tell you what we know right now. So the first thing is, I mentioned in my recent review of the Maverick that I think it's interesting that there's a market for a compact sport utility based with a bed, truck, front wheel drive, but Ford and Hyundai are coming at it almost from two different directions. The Hyundai is more of the urban active lifestyle, whereas Ford seems to be really leaning heavily into their truck history and their reputation to make a more trucky truck. But what I found here was I'm not exactly sure that's true. So let's dig into it a little bit. So up front, let's start with Hyundai is supposed to be starting manufacturing here in June, and so it's a summer release for their vehicle. Ford is not going to be releasing it until they say the fall, but it's very interesting that Ford has moved their marketing forward. They've released a bunch of information. They've already got build and price available on their website, so you can go price one out and see exactly how it turns out. For me, a mid-level XLT equipped very modestly, I got about $24,000 and some change. But I think it's absolutely genius of Ford to kind of steal Hyundai's thunder, because if you go to the Hyundai site right now, they don't even list the base prices for their different trim levels. So I really think Ford has kind of trumped Hyundai in this, and they're getting a lot of press and a lot of interest, and they're allowing you to go ahead and reserve it. Hyundai is as well. That being said, Hyundai is not releasing its interior sizes right now, so we can't compare interior space. We can compare engines and some capabilities and outside space, but we can't really compare the inside right now. But before we jump into the numbers, I want to give a giant shout out to my viewer who left a comment. His name is Mark. He left an awesome link to a 4-page Ford spec sheet PDF. Okay, this has been an absolute gold mine. And so again, while we're kind of picking through the internet looking for information about the Santa Cruz, Ford put it all in a 4-page document. I'll provide a link to that below if you want to go check it out. So right off the bat, let's start with the Ford. Looking at those exterior dimensions, it's got a 121.1 inch wheelbase, 199.7 inches in length, a height of about 68.7 inches, body width of about 72.4. The bed is going to be about 54 inches long with 1,500 pounds of capacity. The Hyundai is a wheelbase of 118.3, an overall length of 195.7, a height of about 66.7, and a width of about 75. So the Ford's got a longer wheelbase, it's a little bit longer, it's slightly taller. The Hyundai is going to be a little bit broader in the shoulders. Its bed is between 48 and 52 inches. So Ford's got this 4.5-foot bed. Hyundai, if you take a look at this picture, they've got a bar across the top. So depending on what you're loading in, you may not be able to use the full depth. If you're in the bottom part of it, you're going to be able to get 52 inches. So it's only about 2 inches shorter than the Ford, which is surprising. It looks a lot shorter, but at the upper end, it's only about 4 feet long up at the top. Both of these are capable of holding a 4x8 sheet of plywood. Both of them have a tailgate that you can set to a middle position so the plywood can rest on the wheel arches and the tailgate, and you can strap it in. But ultimately, that box on the Ford is a little bit more usable, a little bit more square and boxy. The big difference is that Hyundai is quoting the capability of the vehicle, but saying that the bed only has a 660-pound capacity, whereas Ford quotes the overall capacity, all of which could be put into the bed. The Hyundai's is a composite, and that could be why. And one final thought on the bed in terms of its usability, take a look at these two pictures. On the right, the Ford, you can actually put a bike in the back of it as someone who mountain bikes. If you take the front wheel off, in the Hyundai, they have this picture, professional picture by the company, and they just kind of hung a bike hanging out the back of it. To me, that tells you almost everything you need to know about the bed and its usability, but we'll get past that later. Next up, let's talk about the engines. So we're going to start with the Hyundai here. It has a base 2.5 liter engine with an 8-speed automatic transmission. And that base engine offers 190-ish horsepower and 180 pound-feet of torque. It has an upgraded engine, which is a 2.5 liter turbocharge, which offers over 275 horsepower and over 310 pound-feet of torque through a dual clutch automatic 8-speed. Now for Ford, they kind of surprised everybody with their base engine. Thinking that we were going to get a nice, weak little 3-cylinder turbocharge like from the Escape, they actually went with a 2.5 liter hybrid powertrain. Okay, so this has a combined total system horsepower of 191 with a peak torque of 173 using the battery. And the optional engine is a 2-liter EcoBoost engine with 250 horsepower and 277 pound-feet of torque, pretty well trumped by the Santa Cruz. In addition, towing capabilities. That Hyundai with the base engine is rated for 3,500 pounds, and with the upgraded engine, it's rated at 5,000. Now, towing on the Ford, the base engine can tow 2,000, that hybrid system. The upgraded can tow up to 4,000 with a special tow package. That means the Ford is out horsepowered and out towed by the Hyundai. Really kind of surprising here. Styling, I'll let you decide what you like. I really like the the Santa Cruz until I saw the Maverick. And the more I look at the Maverick, every single time I look at it, I like it a little bit better. As a matter of fact, I found my top color. I like the red one, but man, they've got another that's dark blue that I'm really kind of excited for. So which one would be right for you? Well, number one, the Santa Cruz seems to be slightly more urban, but also slightly more upscale. There's a few things that they're doing that Ford's not trying to. For example, Ford's using regular gauges with a small display to give you informational display there with, I believe it was an 8.5-inch screen. Hyundai is actually going to be doing a digital display with a much bigger screen. There's going to be a little bit of difference there, but the big one I think is that the Ford, they're going for a price. You can equip it up into the 30s, but Ford's starting at just under $20,000, $19,995 without destination. And Hyundai, they haven't released final pricing, but it's been said that they want to be competitive with the Pilot. Not the Pilot, excuse me, the Ridgeline. Well, the Ridgeline is about $36,000. So the estimates have been that Santa Cruz is going to be in the $30,000 range, even though it's quite a bit smaller. Which one's right for you? I can't answer that. We need to really see what that price is going to be on the Hyundai, because it looks to be starting where the Maverick is going to be finishing. And the Maverick is more trucky in a lot of ways, but the Hyundai, it's got the numbers behind it, at least in terms of power and towing. While the bed might be the thing that makes the difference. That might be what sells the Maverick as being more a trucky truck. But that's the numbers as we know them right now. So I'd love to know your thoughts below. Which one kind of hits it for you? We need to wait for Hyundai to come out for more information so we can compare them a little bit more head to head. But I'm a little surprised that the Hyundai has as strong a numbers as it does. And I'm afraid that does mean they're going to be aiming for a higher price point. So we might end up with two compact sport utility based trucks squeezing into a market that a month ago wasn't being served at all. I'd like to know your thoughts, guys.